Everyone ignored the quiet janitor. Everyone except one woman. She defended him when the room turned cold. What she didn't know, that one moment would change her life forever. She stood up for the man no one saw. The marble floors of the Carter and Blake headquarters gleamed every morning, polished so well that the city lights reflected like stars beneath people's feet. Executives rushed through the lobby with phones pressed to their ears, eyes locked on success, deadlines, and power. And in the middle of all that movement, one man quietly pushed a mob. His name was Daniel Reed. No one asked about him. No one wondered who he was before he wore work boots and a simple uniform. To them, he was invisible. Except to her. Emma Lawson walked into the building that morning with purpose. She had just been promoted to project manager, the youngest in the firm's history. She wore a red dress not to impress, but because it reminded her to stand tall in rooms that tested her courage. As she approached the elevator, she noticed something unusual. A group of senior staff stood nearby, their voices sharp, impatient. At the center of it all was Daniel, standing still, holding his mop like it was the only thing grounding him. "You can't leave your equipment here," one man snapped. "This is a professional building," another added. "People like you should know better." Emma stopped. Something about the tone made her chest tighten. Daniel lowered his eyes. "I'm sorry," he said calmly. "I'll move it right away." That should have been the end of it. But the man pointed a finger. "Don't talk back." That was when Emma stepped forward. "Enough." Every voice fell silent. She stood between them and Daniel, her hands open, steady but firm. "He apologized," she said, "and he's doing his job. There's no reason to speak to him like that." The lobby froze. Someone whispered, "Emma, don't." She didn't turn around. "Respect isn't a title," she continued. "It's how you treat people when no one forces you to." Daniel looked up, surprised. For the first time in years, someone had stood up for him. The executives exchanged awkward glances. One scoffed and walked away. The others followed, pretending nothing had happened. Emma turned to Daniel. "Are you okay?" He nodded slowly. "Thank you," he said. "You didn't have to do that." "Yes," she replied gently. "I did." A quiet connection. From that day on, something changed. Emma noticed Daniel every morning, not because he demanded attention but because he never did. He worked with care, he greeted people politely, even when they didn't respond. He listened more than he spoke. Sometimes, she stayed late, buried in reports and pressure, and sometimes, Daniel was still there, cleaning quietly. They began to talk. At first, just small things. "How was your day?" "Long." "Mine too." Over time, those conversations grew deeper. Daniel spoke about values, about how kindness reveals more than power, about how people show their true selves when they think no one important is watching. Emma shared her fears, about not being taken seriously, about feeling alone at the top. "You don't seem invisible to me," Daniel said once. She smiled. "You never were." What Emma didn't know was that Daniel wasn't just listening. He was learning what real character looked like, learning what genuine warmth felt like, learning what love could be without masks. The secret he kept: Daniel Reed wasn't always a janitor. Years ago, he had built a company from nothing. He had known success, attention, and admiration that vanished the moment his wealth became public. People loved his title, not his heart, so he walked away. He sold his shares, trusted managers to run things quietly, and took on a simple role under a different name, not to test people but to find truth. And there it was. In Emma, she never asked for favors. She never treated him differently. She never once asked about his past. She saw him, and that terrified him, because falling for her meant eventually telling her the truth. The moment everything broke, one afternoon, the building buzzed with excitement. A major investor was visiting. Executives lined up. Security tightened. Whispers filled the air. Emma walked into the conference room and froze. At the head of the table stood Daniel, but not in his uniform. He wore a tailored suit. Calm, confident. The room went silent. "Good afternoon," he said. "I'm Daniel Reed." Gasps followed. Emma's heart dropped. He continued, "I'm the majority stakeholder in this firm." Her world spun. After the meeting, she confronted him. "You lied to me." "I protected something," he said quietly. "And I was afraid." "Afraid of what?" she asked, her voice shaking. "Of losing the one person who treated me like I mattered before knowing who I was." Tears filled her eyes. She walked away, love on the edge. Days passed. Emma avoided him. Daniel respected her silence. Until one evening, she found a handwritten note on her desk. "I don't want you to choose me because of who I am. I hope you'll choose me because of who I was when you didn't know." She went to the lobby. Daniel stood there just like the first day. "I defended you because it was right," she said, "not because of what you had." He nodded. "That's why I love you." Silence stretched. Then Emma stepped closer. "And that's why I stayed." A different kind of ending. They didn't rush. They built something real. When the company announced new leadership values, Emma stood beside Daniel, not above anyone, not below anyone. Just equal. The janitor no one respected had found love, and the woman who stood up for him discovered that the greatest riches were never hidden in power but in compassion. If this story touched your heart, if you believe kindness still matters, make sure to subscribe to Black Inside 2.0, where powerful stories remind us that real love sees the soul first.